What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today we have Tinder. This one's pretty short and nobody really asked for it, but it's new. It was appearing in my feed and I'm like, hey, it's a new PGR song. I've got to listen to it. Why the hell wouldn't I? So without further ado, let's go. Moody. I don't know why that sounded familiar there for a split second. Oof. Ooh. So that's heavy. Oh. Oh no. Okay. Now all of the emotional weight makes sense. I love that. I love that cymbal. It sounds like a China cymbal just being tapped. I mean, that was like a crash cymbal that had the little roll there at the end, but that one specific one in there definitely sounded like when you just take a stick and you lightly tap a China cymbal. It has a very specific ring to it. It might have been something else unrelated, but it's very close. Okay, so this song was short, but it was nowhere near shy of things to talk about. So this progression in this song plays a little bit with some odd ideas in a very good way, especially at the end. But just to start with the main chord progression here, we have E minor, C, A minor, D. This is a really, really common chord progression, but it's very emotional and powerful in that way. It's very dramatic. It has a lot of backbone in how it functions, going from a minor to a major to a minor to a major. Just the factor of them kind of switching up every other note to a major makes this entire motion as we go down especially make it feel that much more dramatic, because we have this kind of somber starting note. It gets brighter, but as we go down, it gets sadder, and then it comes back up to finish off with another major. So we kind of start on a bitter note and end on a brighter note, but as a result of this motion, it just feels a little bit more complete. Also with the fact that when we do a lot of these, most times there are sevenths going on, so we get an extra note in there, like the E minor seventh being that, and the C major seventh being that. And we also get an A minor seventh in there too, and like I said, these are all important because especially those last two share every other note with another chord in this progression. So for example, the C major seventh is literally an E minor with a extra note on the bottom being the C. It's the same notes, just you literally add the one extra to be able to root it in a different note. So that's C major seventh. And A minor seventh is the same thing with the C. This is a C, now it's in A minor seventh. And these sorts of lifts are very important because as we move down, doing things like sevenths all the way through, which I don't believe ever happens. I don't think we get all three of those with sevenths at any given one chunk of time. But when we utilize them, you can hear how this whole progression feels a little bit more jazzy and a little bit more hopeful in general. So that's kind of what this song is abusing as far as that music theory goes. We have something that should, by all means, be kind of this movement of we're going down and trading blows more or less with the emotion, but having a lot of these hook back into these other chords that we've already experienced is why this sounds like it's a little forlorn and it has more of an emotional tie back to the beginning. It's something that adds to that extra emotion in the song and makes it feel a lot more like there is a past that is now worn but also familiar, and it adds to the story and I'm sure the character in this song. And with what I was seeing on screen, that would totally fit with the character kind of being stuck on the prior step more or less, kind of like they're stuck in time and not sure how to continue on. And again, pretty obvious with the video included, but having these sorts of motifs in here are very important to be able to get that emotion through to the listener without having to have the visuals. I talk about that a lot. One of the most important things is being able to share the emotion without needing to show it. And as we get to the end of the song, it does something very interesting. We get a sharped E minor, which is an E, and that changes the emotion. It leads up. So we come off of something that we just ended that main progression, and now we're sitting here like, whoa. Now there's hope. There's actual hope. So this is just an E minor lifted it to an E. That's it. That's the only thing that happens. And it doesn't fit within the key, but that's where a key change would happen. And that would signify a significant emotional shift in the song, but it's the last thing we get. And I also find that fascinating because like right after we get that big emotional chord change, we get that thing that I was hearing that I'm pretty sure I know. It must be like a main motif of the game or something, because I'm pretty sure I heard it at the beginning and they were like teasing it a little bit, but then they brought it back in for that final little chunk right after that key change. So we get this nice bright uplift on the emotion, and then it goes, and that's fucking cool. So that's got to be like the PGR main motif. It's got to be some other song I've heard. I know I've heard that theme, but wrapping it all back to the key change right before doing all that makes me go, okay, so we have this big emotional story. There's a change. Now there's an involvement of the character. There is almost this moment at the end of this song where it's teasing the next step in their emotional evolution, basically. Their stance in the world has now shifted towards whatever motif that is, which is a really fucking cool way to end a story. It's not necessarily a bookend, it's more like a cliffhanger musically, but if you already know what the cliffhanger results in, which I assume is probably answered through the character's story, and probably by playing the game if it is just a major motif in the title, which again, I'm pretty fucking sure it is, that's really neat. That is a beautiful way to showcase that and have that be like a, hey, this character's story is not done yet. Make sure you stick around because they're joining this. And it's like, oh shit. So again, beautiful track here. I think there's a lot going on with this song and a lot that I didn't expect to get out of this one. I think the strings were beautiful. I think having that sort of an energy in the song makes it all the more emotional and forlorn, having that sort of balance between the piano and the violin, and it just felt so good. I'm actually not sure if it was a violin or a cello. I think it was a violin, but I was not paying super close attention to which one it was. It was more of the general identity of the song being this beautiful, but also the tragedy in that beauty. And it's a beautiful track for that, and I believe I've talked about very similar things in other songs before. Maybe I'm just having a bit of a deja vu moment, but I swear I've said that exact sentence before. It could have been a year ago plus, but we get that a lot in these games. I don't think it was the same game even, but we have these moments when you're trying to tell a character's story. You need to have that emotional movement to be able to relate to these characters. So if you're writing a song for a character that has this beauty to it, but also you need to be able to wrap back to the tragedy of what we were seeing on screen, that's going to happen. That's going to keep showing up in multiple games through multiple characters because that is a tried and true tested character arc. Beautiful character, struggling, goes through some traumatic shit, and they're going to come out stronger on the other side. What that is up to whatever that little motif was at the end there, I think, but either way, a fantastic song here, and I got a lot more talking points out of this one than I thought I would for a 1.5 minute long song. But I think I'm done yapping about this now, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you have another song you want me to get to from PGR, by all means, drop them in the comments below, and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!